Therefore, I would like to hand over, Wolfgang, to you.
Thank you.
And give you the word to give an introduction of the Oracle roadmap of JavaFX.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So it's really amazing that 140 people attending here this conference, and yeah, that's all of you who did this. So I'm Wolfgang Weigend from Oracle, working for the global team, the Java team, taking care about Java technology and GraalVM. And yeah, I'm lucky to present the agenda, hopefully spend in 15 minutes. Yeah, giving a short introduction to recap what is it, JavaFX, why is it unplugged, and the initial roadmap, and what is important, it's you, the JavaFX community, and the development resources from Oracle, and how it evolved with the OpenJFX, and some new possibilities. We will have more of this from Johan Voss tomorrow on his intro keynote. On the second day, it's the possibility with GraalVM and JavaFX and some really far away outlook, the possibility to reach out to GPUs from NVIDIA here with JavaFX and the Graal library. So the Java APIs are really created in the same kind of language of Java. It is Java. It's perfect compatible. Yeah, so it's one size to get this running and maintained at one central place in the code. That's really a guarantee of the language of Oracle that Java is compatible, and within the OpenJDK that this all belongs together, and it could be decoupled, and it could be composed again in the applications, maintained in a one language, in one code. So it's platform independent, and the rendering possibility of using hardware is there. And JavaFX, it's open source for years. It's maintained in the OpenJFX project within the OpenJDK. So Java in general is open source. So, yeah, it was bundled with JDK 8 with the Oracle JDK, but it never made it through the OpenJDK builds. It wasn't part of it. That's something people even misunderstood this in the past. It was shipped together, but it was not part of OpenJDK builds. So the JavaFX modules were exist and founded it with JDK 9 with the Java platform module system. It still wasn't in the OpenJDK builds. This was difficult to integrate, and therefore where we use required building JDKs of that. After that, Oracle JDK is slightly the same on the technical level with the Oracle OpenJDK, except the license. One is GPL version 2 ClassPass exception with the OpenJDK, and the other is a OTN license. It's an Oracle Technology Network license. So it's decomposed, and it could be set as one, afterwards composing it together, adding the JavaFX modules, because they are not longer included in the JDK after 11. There are many dependencies were eliminated on internal JDK interfaces, and also the Java package was removed, and now in newer JDKs we have a new JPackage tool which was under development and still is ready to discuss, but it's not finalized yet, the new Java JPackage tool. So now it's standalone available, JavaFX, under the OpenJFX bundle, and it could be used with the OpenJDK, with any OpenJDK builds. They tested it with the technology compatibility kit, which is in OpenJDK, the Java compatibility kit, the GCK, and of course with the Oracle JDK builds. 3 ways to run the JavaFX applications now: just to download the SDK, put on the module path when compiling, and run the app afterwards. And the second way is to download the JMods, the individual modules, and use JLink to create a custom runtime, because after 11, you won't have any predefined GRE. You need to build your own one, which the purpose, it's 5 by 7 times smaller, and then you can include the JavaFX modules, and optional, you include your application if this is modular. Use the popular Maven plugin, or Gradle even. Johan Voss with Gluon, he count the Maven downloads, and the overall downloads are very high. His number was over 1 million, and the Maven download is a regular check each month to see what people are really use and build. So it's unbundled JavaFX from the JDK, which was good from the community, but it does not mean JavaFX is unsupported. It is supported because there is support available. Because on the JDK 8 side, it's possible to have the support with the JDK 8. This runs through the year 2030, 10 years ago from now. Yeah, and after 11, with JDK 11 and JavaFX 11 as a long-term support release, it is available as support subscription by Gluon, and underneath the Java SE subscription by Oracle. All the bug fixing stuff goes first into the JFX repo, and so important fixes will be backported to any LTS release, to hopefully some to 8, and of course to 11. And the next LTS report release will be JDK 17. So next year in the same time we have the 17. So we have 8, 11, and 17 as long-term support releases. And all the security fixes will be ported to the LTS, and between releases to 15, like Johan proposed on his website. We will see this tomorrow. So this is something we provide. Yeah, there is a support subscription for the Java SE for 8 or for 11. Yeah, and with 11, yeah, it's a possibility to have the JavaFX subscription by Gluon. And of course, all the people engaged here from the developer community, they can have consulting engagements. But this is something to shout out. Please contribute back, that we can all participate of this. And just a single consulting engagement, it's great for the enterprise, they have it, but it would be even better to have it all on our community side if you contribute back to OpenJFX, that all we have something out of it as a result. So as I mentioned earlier, the shipping of JavaFX with JDK 8, Oracle JDK 8, the support line is extended for the next 10 years to December 2030. Yeah, this is possible because of 1,000 people in engineering, 500 forward, 500 in support until sustaining support. Yeah, and this is possible to do so. Yeah, for the Oracle JDK, and with 11, JDK 11, JavaFX 11, we see a dedicated support roadmap for any web deployment technologies and JavaFX. Yeah? And this is enhanced, extended to March 2025. So it's 5 years from now with active engineering development from Oracle. Yeah? The support is a different thing, but this is the active engineering within the JavaFX support for the next 5 years. We extended this in spring this year, and it's still new to people they didn't heard of it yet. And so really 5 years for JDK 8, JavaFX 8 on this level with active engineering. That's very worthwhile to mention. What about the development resources at our Oracle JavaFX engineering and from the important stuff from the Java community development? The team in our side with Kevin Rashford. He's the senior engineering manager at Oracle. With his team, he can cover all the stuff internally with his people in the States. With the surrounding colleagues, technical writer documentation, all that stuff to make it proper readable for new starters, for high sophistic developers growing up with JavaFX, maybe starting with a version 2. And there is always a possibility to have choice, an open source version and the underlying Java SE subscription support, and then we cover this and we can retrieve immediately patches. All the issued bugs or problems will be prioritized by Johan Voss from Gluon Engineering in synchronize with Kevin Rashford. They're working tight together and they're removing all the issues and bugs on this. So Gluon is the company behind the download from the Oracle website. It's a redirect to the Gluon website, and for the effort, it's possible to get the Gluon JavaFX subscription on that. Tom Schindel is here in the call. He is the guy behind Best Solutions in Austria, his software company. And he did the FX Clips. It's a major step forward years ago. What he did to provide the IDE plugin stuff for Eclipse to work with JavaFX. Microdoc is available to build any kind of embedded device with Java and enables this. They have an ongoing new signed 10-year contract for all the Oracle Java products. So they can provide dedicated commercial Java and JavaFX builds on any device they want to build. They are based in Munich and they do this worldwide, and they are eligible to have it as a contract of Oracle. Zeiss is here. Christian Heilmann, welcome. He's attending as well. We did before the adopter meeting some weeks before. And Zeiss Saxonia is a heavily user of JavaFX. Same here, we saw it on the agenda. It's the GSI. It's very hard to pronounce this in English, and so it's something to research here and having the visualization with JavaFX. And of course, I really can emphasize this hard enough. Karagun is behind this with lots of stuff. Henrik Ebbers contributes, Florian Kiermeier, Tony Appler, Gerrit Grunwald, and of course, Dirk Lemmermann with his own company, Michael Hoffer, and lots of individual developers I did not mention, and sorry for that. You are really worthwhile to do and to show up in next meetings. I mentioned this from Microdoc. If someone has any device which is not possible to get aligned with Java, Microdoc can do. They can build Linux on ARM ports with JavaFX on it, whatever. It's possible for them to have something built up, and they can support this with their people in Munich from development. Now everyone can contribute. I mentioned this earlier with OpenJFX on GitHub, and it's the easiest way to look at these repo. And with Project Scala, this is targeted for JDK 16. We're getting closer to this because this is the transition from the mercurial repo, which is more rigid and restrictive, yeah, and to participate easier with the GitHub OpenJDK JFX project. Yeah, this is led, what I mentioned earlier, by Kevin Rushford and Johan Voss to do the prioritization of bugs, and all the bugs or the issues should be written and marked in the Java bug systems in the OpenJDK here for bugs. And the JDK bug system, it's very useful to work on a professional level on this, and yeah, to ship it then to GitHub. And there are more than 20 contributors at GitHub during the last months. What was the count as well from Johan? Now we have even more. I mentioned this earlier. We started this 2 years ago to migrate from Mercurial to GitHub, yeah, and to Git, sorry. And the next job is migrate to GitHub. And this is really the underlying infrastructure to be part of, to contribute, and to work with OpenJFX, and to align this with the OpenJDK, of course. So what about the GraalVM here? What can help GraalVM? GraalVM is written in Java. It provides ahead of time compilation for desktop, mobile, and embedded devices. Yeah, so it can build a native image. Yeah, and so the native image does the AOT compilation at build time. Yeah, so you get a tiny native image with a very fast startup time and less memory. And it's better to place this small piece into several devices, especially for mobile and embedded purpose. So Graal gives the possibility, yeah, and during this native image, the code, the Java code, which is reachable, is analyzed and compiled into a native image, which is independent executable. And the startup time is really significant faster, and the memory consumption is 5 times lower in average to other existing applications. So the client, the outside client, does not require a full-blown JVM. That's the purpose. And there will be more about that within Johan Voss' talk tomorrow. So in his example, he started with the IDE with his products, yeah, as a plugin to Gluon Mobile, using JavaFX Mobile and using the GraalVM native image. And this runs with an own Gluon substrate. And then it's possible to use JavaFX on tiny devices, smartphones like iOS and Android operating systems, and on the desktop. This is just something to consider during the past 1.5 years. GraalVM is available for production. We can use it. And this is something, a far outlook in the future. What about this company NVIDIA? They are going to buy ARM as a company for 40 billion, and they have a large expertise in their own graphical processors. And the NVIDIA GPUs, they are reachable by a small library, a Graal library, and it's a Graal Compute Unified Device Architecture library. And this GRCUDA is a polyglot language binding for CUDA to reach this in Graal. So this is a possibility if we think about large rendering stuff with JavaFX, and we want to do this from the GPUs. We can hand this over as a polyglot language binding. I just close in 4 slides here just to give a short outlook about this. What the polyglot language binding for CUDA could be here with this library in Graal. Integrated GPU accelerated libraries into an existing software stack. This is the challenge, and they have done it before, the NVIDIA team, for many programming languages before, and having different APIs. And this time we have here just a simple wrapper around. So GRCuba is an open source solution. With this library, we simplify the integration within script languages to the GraalVM. And then there is in the background the engineering power of the Oracle labs with 270 people and the NVIDIA team to open source this under BSD 3 close license.
Wolfgang?
Yeah.
We're over time. Can you
I just finished is
okay.
up immediately. So it's a polyglot feature within this library, and we avoid GNI calls. This is the good stuff. We don't break it because we don't need to use JNI. We can use direct calls from the application within the GRCuda library with GraalVM, and this does not break because we don't have any risky GNI calls. It's just an expression-oriented language. It runs with Python, with JavaScript, with R, with Ruby. And it's worthwhile to try it. And what is the outcome? We can reach device arrays as a wrapper around the GPU accessible memory. And therefore, lots of new stuff is possible to make it visible with JavaFX, but to reach the device array of an NVIDIA CPU, of such a processor. Now that means embrace different languages here with this library like Python I mentioned earlier, and having the same language here maybe with Java within one compiler, and we have one runtime environment. That's from my side. If you have question, please write it to the chat because I am a little bit over time, and thanks for listening.